The readings this week from Genesis have some important and difficult stories. You may find yourself wondering about the character of the God we worship. Please hang in there and don't give up. We're exploring the heights and the depths. Our first reading, Genesis 22, is certainly one of the darkest and deepest stories in the Bible. There's a sculpture outside of Princeton University Chapel of Abraham holding the knife, ready to sacrifice his son. It's a memorial for young people sent to die in wars started by their elders. What do you see in the story of Abraham and Isaac? And do you see in it anything that suggests the story of Jesus? We have more of these complicated family relationships in this week's readings: Isaac and Rebekah, Jacob and Esau, Jacob and Laban, Leah and Rachel. Notice that once again, the Bible tells us of God's picking one person in particular, Jacob, but without explaining why. In this story, things will turn out all right for everyone, but clearly Jacob is favored. It's all too human for us to look for an explanation, to try to see something in Jacob's character that would explain why God favors him over Esau. If you see the Bible give an explanation where I don't see it, please share it with me. God's purposes are bigger than we can see. We may want simple, straightforward explanations. Jacob was better looking than Esau, more pious than Esau, morally better than Esau. I don't see it. I trust that the Lord knows the Lord's purposes and that Jacob somehow would serve those purposes better than Esau, even if I don't know why. What do you think? In this week's reading is a story that I had to deal with in preaching last year in Nicaragua, the Rape of Dinah. I preached in a church where everyone was reading the same Bible texts every day, much as we are doing, and the preacher was to deal with the reading for the day. The Sunday I was there, the reading was the Rape of Dinah. And so we read it, everybody, children through grown-ups, and that's what I had to preach about. If you want to know what I said, I would enjoy telling you about it. There are two other moments in this week's reading that tend to move me to tears. One is the simple note that when Abraham died, his sons Ishmael and Isaac came together to bury him. Last week, I called your attention to their complicated relationship, but here we see them both, shovels in hand, doing what they could for the man they had in common, that they both called father. The other story is the night that Jacob spent by the ford of the Jabbok, wrestling all night. It seems he was wrestling with God, and three things came of that wrestling match. He received a new name, Israel. He received a blessing, and he was lame for the rest of his life. That story has always symbolized my relationship with God. What about you? Do you wrestle with God? This Sunday's New Testament reading has a number of Jesus' parables about the realm of God. I don't know yet for certain, but I will probably preach on the question Jesus asks his disciples after telling all those stories. Have you understood all this? They very confidently answered yes. I wonder if anyone should be quite so confident.